How to stop obsessing over that person. You know exactly who I am talking about. Maybe it's someone you've had a crush on for years. Maybe it's someone you've had a crush on for days. Maybe it's your ex. Maybe it's a stranger you've seen in the gym. I don't know who it is. I don't care who it is because the reality is the person you're obsessing over is not that special. I hate to break it to you. And your obsession over this person is lowering the quality of your life. It's stunting your personal growth because you are basing your emotional well being on this person and their reciprocation of your love. And you're also changing who you are subconsciously to fit what you believe this person wants you to be. So you're suppressing your authentic self. And whenever we suppress our authentic self, we have this feeling inside of us of being stuck. We have this feeling inside of us that feels like almost doom and gloom because we're suppressing who we're truly supposed to be. So, obsessing over somebody is going to really affect your life. So, let's talk about it today. I'm going to give some tough love. I'm going to give some psychology. I'm going to give some reasons why you may be obsessing over this person and also how to truly combat that. So, before we begin, my name is Naomi Dunn. I am an inner work coach, and this is Disrupt Your Norm, where I help you disrupt your current norm to help bring you to a better norm. All right, so obsessing over somebody. There's a psychological term for this, and the term is called limerence. And if you have never heard of the term limerence, but you have experienced obsessing over every crush you've ever had in your life to the point where it truly affects you negatively in the end because you lose yourself, because your emotions are so dependent on the other person, when you hear about limerence, it can be kind of like this mind blowing thing to realize there's a literal term for it and it's more common than you think. The reason it's more common than you think is because most of us had screwed up childhoods where we didn't get the emotions we needed to be met. A lot of us were neglected, a lot of us were emotionally or physically abused. So it causes us to seek out people in order to heal those wounds, in order to suppress our pains. So it's really common. And limerence, I'll actually read out a definition for you. Here's what I found. Limerence is that intense, almost obsessive emotional state that people experience when they have a crush or an infatuation with somebody. It's often characterized by a longing of reciprocation, of feelings, an overwhelming preoccupation with the object of affection, and a deep desire for emotional connection. When somebody is experiencing limerence, they're typically seeking a wide range of intense emotions and feelings, both internal and relational. All right, so speaking of feelings, if you haven't seen my video on detachment, I would highly recommend you watch that. But to give a simple little overview of what I say in this video, is I'm speaking on how the thing that you are attached to, so in this case it's a person, you are not attached to them and you are not desiring them so intensely because you want the person. You are obsessing over this person because you want a feeling. It's never the physical thing that you want. It's always the internal state that you are craving. So I want you to remember this as we move forward, that you're not obsessing over the person, you're obsessing over obtaining a feeling. Now, before I get into those feelings, I want to point out two really important things that are going to really shift your perspective on this person and on having a crush. And number one is that a crush is just a lack of information. It's funny how much of a pedestal we put people on when we have a crush on them and how special and how we make them out to be. But the reality is that they're a human and that they're normal and that they have so many mediocre qualities about them. They have bodily functions. They have made enormous mistakes in life. They have bad qualities as well as they're good. They're a human like you. So let's start to lower them on the pedestal and remember the crush we have on them is simply a lack of information about the other qualities that aren't so great about them. Because putting anybody on a pedestal is really not healthy, of course for yourself, but if you were to to have a relationship with this person, it wouldn't be healthy to have a relationship with somebody that you think is perfect, that you think is the most special person in the whole world, because it's just not true. They are a normal person. And the reason it's not healthy to think somebody is the best thing ever and that you put them so high up on the pedestal is because you're setting such unrealistic expectations for them. So that when you do see the bad side to them, when you do see the mediocre side to them, you become really disappointed. And that's actually quite hurtful to many people, to see that somebody else is only obsessing over them, over their incredible qualities that may or may not be true. You want to go into a relationship being open to unconditionally loving a person if they are the right fit for you. And if you're only liking them for their good qualities, you'll realize that you can't actually unconditionally love them because you're placing the condition on only seeing their good side 24/7, which is not realistic. And the next thing, which can be very mind blowing to see, and it's one of those things that once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And that is that those amazing qualities that you see in this person that you constantly think about and obsess over, those are the qualities you already have within yourself. The reason you admire those qualities so deeply is because you have those qualities already inside of you. You would not see those qualities in this other person if you didn't already have those qualities inside of you. You wouldn't love their kindness if you weren't already a kind person. You wouldn't love their humor if you weren't already a humorous person. And maybe you don't even see the qualities in yourself because you're suppressing them so much that when you see it in the other person, the reason you love it so much is because you are subconsciously loving that they're expressing how you wish you were expressing yourself. So I want you to start appreciating your own qualities and realize that when you love the qualities in another person, it's because you love the qualities that are in yourself. All right, so let's go back to what I said about you are obsessing over this person because you are deep down seeking a feeling that you don't already have inside. So let's get into those feelings and how to give it to yourself to fill your own cup so that you stop obsessing over that person to obtain the feeling that you can give yourself and have been able to give yourself this entire time. And what do you think happens when you fill your own cup in this way, when you give yourself the feeling that you're deep down truly searching for? The limerence starts to fade away. You don't feel that obsessiveness as much. You start to become yourself again. You start to feel joy again. You start to feel the way you've been seeking out and the way you've been searching to feel this entire time. The number one thing that I find people are searching for when they're searching out a person and obsessing over somebody is the feeling of being enough. It's having self worth. Now, when we don't have self worth, we search for our worth in other people. This is so common. I see it all of the time. But searching for your worth in somebody else will never, ever make you feel worthy. The truth is that you have intrinsic value. The truth is that nothing outside of you is what creates your worth, not your work, not your income, not your partner, and not your looks. You have intrinsic value. It's nothing to do with anything that's outside of you. Now, I'm going to give you this little exercise you can do to help you feel the feeling of worth, but I want you to remember this entire time that you have intrinsic worth, that you don't need to do anything to have it. But if you've never felt the feeling of being enough, I want to share something that with you that will help you cultivate this appreciation for yourself so you can get that feeling. And it's a feeling I want you to hold on to and practice continually to bring up that feeling as much as you can in life. The more we do this, the more we are rewiring our mind to get used to that feeling and to feel it more often so that you do convince yourself and know truly that you are enough and you don't need to search out other people to feel that feeling. So what you can do is you can get out a pen and paper. I want you to start writing about every accomplishment you have ever achieved, every single thing that you have overcome, and every single thing that you appreciate about yourself. And maybe you have to look at that other person and see the qualities in them to realize, oh, these are the qualities I appreciate about myself. So what you have achieved, what you have overcome, and what you appreciate about yourself from the earliest memory, big or small. I really mean small if you have to write small. I literally wrote on my list learning how to braid my hair by watching YouTube videos. That's something that I have achieved. So it really can be things that are small. And I want you to really cultivate that feeling of appreciation for yourself, of realizing, oh my gosh, I have had worth this entire time. Not that your worth is based on those things. I'm just trying to get you to cultivate that feeling of realizing you're enough and you can appreciate yourself and you have great qualities about you. You have qualities about yourself that you have qualities about yourself that are worth being appreciated, that are worth loving. And I'm not telling you to do this in some narcissistic way to become self obsessed. I don't mean that. We don't need to go to unhealthy levels. It's just simply becoming aware of something that's been there this entire time and realizing that we don't need to neglect ourselves anymore. We don't need to obsess over other people thinking they're so much better than us. We can realize that we have great qualities about ourselves too. We never need to think we're better than other people. We don't need to obsess over ourselves, but we do need to realize we have worth. We have things about ourselves that we can appreciate. We have value, and we don't need to seek out other people in order to feel that when we've had it this entire time. And if you think it's wrong to appreciate qualities about yourself, if you think it's wrong to know that you have worth, I want you to realize the path you go down when you obsess over people and the things that you can do just to get their attention. So, again, that feeling of being enough, I want you to capture it and I want you to bring it up as often as you can, especially when you find yourself going down the path of limerence, because you're going to give yourself what you're truly seeking for when you're obsessing over that person, which is the feeling of being enough. So try to do it as often as you can. It may not feel normal in the beginning because you've probably spent most of your life obsessing over people trying to feel enough, but over time it will feel normal. All right, the next one is the feeling of love. We all want this feeling of love. We watch romantic movies to try and cultivate that feeling inside of us. And the thing is, the feeling of love doesn't need to come from one person. The first thing I always like to say is that we have a Father, we have a God who provides unconditional love. There is no love greater than God's love. And when you realize that you have access to that love and that love is being freely given to you, you can realize you've been loved this entire time and you can feel that love. You can also feel love from those around you, from your pets, from your friends, from your family. Capture the feeling of love, and connection is also a human need that we're often seeking out. I want you to feel more of that connection when you are speaking with your friends, your family, strangers, the person checking out your groceries at the store. Feel that connection. Allow yourself to be present in conversations. Allow yourself to understand other people better and be understood. Allow yourself to speak from your heart. Be authentic to yourself. Truly allow yourself to immerse the feeling of love that you get from others and connection you get from those who are already around you. And you can also give this feeling to yourself. Connect with yourself, understand yourself better, realize that the feeling of love you're seeking out is not a feeling that has to come from other people or other experiences. It's a feeling. If you think of something that makes you angry right now, you can cultivate anger inside of you. If you think of something that makes you feel sad, something that makes you feel joy, you can feel that feeling inside of you right now, this second. You can choose to feel the feeling of love right now, this second, with yourself. You can realize it's a feeling, and why do you need to wait for somebody else to give you that feeling? Why can't you fall in love with your life right now? Why can't you fall in love with what you already have and those who are already around you? Why can't you think of the memories that have made you feel so much love in the past and try your best to feel them right now? Remember them. You're searching for a feeling that can be given to yourself right now. And of course, romantic love has a different type of feeling, a different type of excitement. But the thing is you will have that one day with the right person. But you don't need to wait until that day to feel love right now. All right, the next one is emotional highs, the excitement, the intensity of the excitement that comes with having this obsession with a person. We get often addicted to these emotional highs because we are deep down suppressing pain that's inside of us. And we know if we search out this feeling, if we obsess over somebody, if we have this intense crush, it comes with a feeling that overrides our pain in life. So if it's your traumas or if it's your negative emotional state that you are currently in, that you are trying to suppress, The truth is, the harsh truth is the way to combat this is to force yourself consciously, little by little, to minimize the distractions of the things that you are using to suppress your pain. So, what this looks like is to start facing the pain. Start facing what you are running away from. And I know it sounds like who would ever want to do that? Who would consciously decide, I'm going to feel pain instead of excitement, instead of these highs that are coming from obsessing over this person? The person who does that is the person that realizes that life gets so much better when we stop running. Life becomes more rich, relationships become more genuine. I can guarantee if you seek out the emotional highs from another person, you're likely addicted to other things too. It's a form of escapism, and the only way to overcome escapism is to stop trying to escape and start doing the uncomfortable until your life becomes comfortable without the escapism anymore. So I want you to start minimizing the distractions. I want you to start consciously sitting with those feelings, sitting with those pains, breathing into them, allowing them to be there. Realize the only reason these feelings keep coming up for you is because they want to be heard. That's it. The more we say, I'm not going to hear you, I'm not going to hear you, I'm not going to hear you, the more it's going to show up and the louder it's going to become. Now, if the trauma and the pain that you have to face is too much for you to handle, if it feels too intense, if it feels like it's going to set you off into panic mode, if it feels like something you just cannot do alone and you need guidance, this is something that I do and that I help people with. If you are interested in more of a one on one approach, with helping you face those pains and not having to do it alone with somebody who understands trauma. If you're going to anybody, make sure that they do understand trauma, make sure that they do understand emotional releasing and trauma processing and nervous system regulation, because your nervous system will become heightened in those moments where you're facing the pains that you've never faced before. Now, those are the three most common things that I see people are seeking out for when they're obsessing over somebody. And the last tip I want to give is try your best to cultivate gratitude for the things that you do have, the relationships you already have, the people who are already in your life, the good things that are in your life. And life doesn't have to wait to get good until you have that person. And I'm not telling you you're never going to be with that person and you're never going to have a relationship with them, but you must fill your own cup before you do, because if not, it creates this unhealthy dependency, it creates this unhealthy relationship, and it's not as genuine as it could be. And if you're going to have a relationship, you might as well make it a good one. You might as well make it genuine, and you might as well come at the relationship feeling good about yourself first, so the other person sees you and realizes that this person knows their worth. This person doesn't need me. And all of a sudden, you find yourself more relaxed, you find yourself more at ease, you find yourself more secure in the relationship, and you're not living out this relationship with heightened anxiety and fear that the person's always going to leave you, that the person doesn't think that you're enough. Because that just creates so much pain in relationships and makes it hard to truly enjoy the person's presence and truly enjoy the relationship for what it is. Please be kind to yourself and realize that if you've had these experiences, if you've spent a lot of time obsessing over somebody, it's not your fault. It's not your fault you became that way. It's pain that caused us to become this way in the first place, but you can reverse it. You are capable of reversing it. So I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Please apply what you've learned. Don't just hear, embody the information you have learned to truly make those shifts in your life. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.